Good afternoon, good morning, hello, wherever you happen to be. Shane McCusker here, Intelligence Software. Welcome to my webinar on more advanced sourcing for recruiters. Very exciting day today. We've had lots and lots of conversation about sourcing and recruitment. And here we go again. First of all, a little bit about me. My name is Shane McCusker, as it says. I run a company called Intelligence Software. And for my day job, how I earn my living is developing information management systems, applicant tracking and CRM systems for recruitment agencies. Really, I'm interested in looking at anything and everything that helps recruiters recruit smarter, recruit more effectively, find hard to get candidates, make placements. The webinars I do for free because I'm just interested in the stuff and I like sharing and I like helping recruiters recruit smarter. If the sort of stuff I do for free appeals, then I would really be grateful and interested in talking to you about what we can do with regard to our paid for products. Somebody asked me what our products cost. So in pretty well any jurisdiction, they're about the price of a cup of coffee a day. And it's all about trying to help you get more value from your information. If you're interested, check out our website, intel-sw.com. Follow me on Twitter, which is at intelligence, spelled with a 1 N-T-E-L-L-I-G-E-N-C-E, or indeed, best of all, connect to me on LinkedIn. So if you're watching this webinar or on my video, please search for me on LinkedIn and send me a connection request and let me know what you think of the webinar. Okay, moving on. Last month I run advanced sourcing and it got lots and lots of reaction, and I was talking a lot about Google and using operators, and I've listed some of the operators I was using then: site colon, in title colon, in URL colon. One of the ones that really got a lot of reaction was this file type colon, which I think is a super operator, and you can do all sorts of interesting things with it. And so I thought really in sort of a recap of something I've done before, and really to extend it and do something else, I thought we'd talk about this one again. So throughout today, I'm just going to use my notepad, and I've got a few little Xray searches, Boolean searches, and a few other searches in here that I'm going to just put into Google and talk about as we go through it. So this is an example of using the file type operator, and I'm going to put it into Google. And first of all, the internet, a lot of people think of it as being web pages, which of course it is, but the internet is full of all sorts of other fascinating pieces of information, fascinating files and documents, and all sorts of other things that are bursting with information, just ripe for the picking if you know where to go looking. And this operator, file type, tells Google that you're looking for a file of a particular type. And if I'm using file type colon XLS, the file type that I'm looking for is an XLS file or an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, pardon me, I thought I was going to sneeze there. So what I'm looking for is an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm thinking to myself, if I'm going to recruit accountants, I'm looking for an Excel spreadsheet, which may be maybe a list of delegates or attendees at a professional accounting event. So what I'm going to look for are documents with the word participant or delegate or attendee. And I'm also going to look for documents which have the words accountant or accountancy or ACCA, which is an accountancy qualification, or CIMA, which is also an accountancy qualification. And of course I could expand that and I could look for auditors or KPMG or profit and loss or balance sheet or any other type of terminology that might be associated with accountants or accountancy. I might not look for participants, delegates, attendees. I might look for first name, email address, position, job title. I might look for lists in other ways. I may define it in terms of a geography based on place names or extensions within domains like email addresses, .co.uk for the UK, or somebody who's asking me for Belgian searches, so .be was how to search for Belgian people. Anyway, enough talking, let's see what it does in practice. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to go over to Google, I'm going to drop it in. Now, a few other little points I'm going to make here. I'm using a couple of operators. How many operators can you spot? File type, that's obviously an operator, and I'm looking for Excel spreadsheets. The word or is also an operator. In other words, I'm not looking for the word or, I'm using it as a, well, linguistically, it's a participant or a delegate or an attendee. I'm looking for pages that have one of those three words. I'm not using the word and because I don't have to. Google interprets the space as being the word and. So I'm looking file type and participant or delegate attendee and accountant or accountancy or whatever. And the reason, because I'm combining ands and ors together, I pretty well have to use bracketing. So I use parentheses or brackets to indicate where my logic is. Okay? So, all that said, let's run it and see what happens. When I run this search, now I've been really open. I haven't specified a geography of it, and I'm searching google.com, so I can pretty well get anything from anywhere. But I've looked at this sheet before. This is sheet 1, CIPFA. Now, I've done some research, and I happen to know that CIPFA is the Chartered Institute of Financial Accountants. Well, that's really useful. Look how many results I'm getting. I'm getting, according to Google, 4,720. Never believe Google's numbers. It's only ever a guess. It just means lots. Now, as it happens, I've already downloaded this spreadsheet. I'm not going to download it again because it really sort of makes my broadcasting drain. But this is what I got. It's a list of, what do you know, accountants, or at least members of the Chartered Institute of Financial Accounting. And this was obviously a delegate list from the 13th of July, which is pretty recently. And I've got authorities. It looks like it's the UK. So I've got names of people. I've got their email addresses. I've got memberships. I've got their job titles. What more do you want? This was the first spreadsheet that I clicked on. In the previous webinar I ran, I got a query from somebody who said, well, we were looking for something for Belgian project managers. And they had created the search, and I ran it, and we got a spreadsheet, and it had 4,500 names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and job titles. I mean, what more do you want? This is gold dust sitting here waiting for you just to go and experiment. So, but don't just think it's this XLS spreadsheet format you find, which it certainly is, and there's gold in them there hills. You can look for any type of document. What about PDFs? I'll type PDF. Look at how many of those I found. Over 1 million. What about looking for docs? Word documents. 36,000. Thousands of them. What about database format? SQL. Now this really is scary. This allows you to effectively download somebody else's database. Why not change the word participant, put in the word or database in there, and you'll find people who are finding databases. It's a massive resource just ready and waiting there. Please try and experiment with this file type : Google operator and see what comes. Okay, let's move it on, because Google is not the only search engine. Oh no, there are a whole lot more. I've listed one more here. Do not stop at just one. Keep on going. Keep on looking for all the other search engines that are out there and ways in which you can search. However, it is important to have a few strings to your bow, and string number 2 in my case happens to be Bing. www.bing.com. It's effectively Microsoft's search engine. It's Microsoft's version of Google, and it's quite similar to Google, but it's different. It's different because of the fact that it indexes the internet differently. And so whenever you do the same search on Bing as you do in Google, you will get different results. And given that we're in the business of finding results, having variation on that is always a good thing. But the operators of Bing tend to be a bit different from Google. Subtly different. Some are the same, but some are different. So or, for example, in Google is or in Bing. The minus sign in Google, which means if you want to negate things, if I don't want to find sites that have jobs in them, I might type in minus jobs, for example. In Bing, it works the same. Minus sign also negates, but you can also use the word not. Phrases are within semicolons, as they are in Bing. Site : now, this is one of my favorite operators. This is, you'll hear me talking about Xray searches. If you want to use a search engine and focus it exclusively on one website, like LinkedIn, or Google Plus, or Facebook, or Twitter, or any other site that is out there to get information off it, you can use site : I'll show you an example of this in a moment. In fact, let me show you an example of it right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an Xray search of LinkedIn. What do I mean by that? What I mean is I'm going to get Google or Bing to search LinkedIn to try and find people. Now, what I'm going to do is I happen to know that LinkedIn has public profiles for most of its people. In actual fact, you have to tell LinkedIn you don't want to have a public profile, otherwise it'll give you one. And all its public profiles have the URL. When I say URL, I mean it's the www bit that all websites have. It goes something linkedin.com/IM or something linkedin.com/PUB for public. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to use Bing this time. So this is Bing if anybody hasn't seen it before. It doesn't look massively different to Google. I'm going to say I'm looking for something specific, so I'm going to say accountant. I'm going to run my search and see what comes. What do you know? I'm using a search engine and I'm finding lots of profiles that are specifically from LinkedIn. Okay, Miri, Mario, and so on. However, I'm also finding a LinkedIn directory page. And I know this because even though this page starts off looking positive, linkedin.com/PUB, oh, it looks like a public profile, it then unfortunately goes /dir, which means it's a LinkedIn directory page. What that is, if I look at this, it's a whole list of people. And in fact, it's not even a particularly useful list of people because if you look at the search on the left-hand side, it's anybody with the last name, accountant. Particularly useless, I would have thought, but no matter. So let's see if we can improve our search by getting rid of that. Now, if I was using Google, I could use a Google operator in URL. And in URL means that it can add or subtract from the results any pages with a particular thing in the URL. The URL is this www bit, so I could remove anything with the dir in it. However, Bing does not have an in URL operator. It has something different. Thanks to a man called Johnny Campbell in Social Talent, he told me about this little operator. In-stream set, colon, brackets, URL, colon. Particularly unuser-friendly, but there you go. This effectively has the thing. One, it starts with a minus sign. That means I do not want in-stream set in URL, anything with a dir in the URL. And what it in effect means, look at my search results, it has accountant at the top, I run this new search and accountant disappears and I'm now with Miri. So effectively what I'm doing is I'm removing anything from the results that has dir in it. And from a search point of view, this is exactly what I want. The big problem with search isn't about finding stuff, it's about not finding the stuff that you don't want. So using these negations, these ways of removing things, you can dramatically improve your search results. Okay, let's see. What else can I do? Now, if this is a little bit cumbersome for you, fear not. Bing, actually, I find it quite user-friendly because you can actually do without this. And if you just put in -dir, it actually gives you pretty well the same results. It is different, subtly different, but it's pretty good. So it's another variation on search. And the more variations on search we can create for you, the more chance you'll have of finding what it is you're looking for. So variation on search is good. Okay, what else? Now, one of the reasons I really like Bing is because Bing has some operators that Google doesn't. And some of its operators work slightly differently. One of the operators I particularly like in Bing is this operator called near. And I'll show you what it does and then explain it a little bit. I'm going to type in something. Okay, I've typed in current near :3 space accountant. And what I'm asking Bing to do is I want Bing to find, obviously, LinkedIn public profiles without finding directories because I've still got the -dir in there. But what I'm looking for are pages where the word current is within 3 words of the word accountant. I'll do the search and show you the results. The first person on the results is a guy called Matthew. Let's have a look at Matthew's page. Okay, prizes. First of all, I'm going to find the word current, and it means his current profile, and it is within 1, 2, 3 words of the word accountant. Well, hey, this is unbelievably useful because what it means is not only can I instruct the search engine to find pages that have particular words on it, but I can instruct the search engine to find where words are close to each other and therefore related, so I can actually find Matthew's current job title. And I can do that because it's an Xray search and I know the format and structure of LinkedIn's pages. Very, very useful. This is something you can do with Bing using this near operator. Google doesn't support a near operator, Bing does, so it's one very good reason why you would want to use Bing rather than using Google. All that said, however, Google has something it can do we can't. And I'm just going to copy this over and I'm going to Googleify it. Back to Google. Okay, I've just cut and pasted this Bing search into Google. So, going to make a few modifications. I'm not going to have -dir, I'm going to have -NURL:dir, making it into using a Google operator that Bing doesn't support. Google doesn't support this near :3, so I'm going to modify this. Let me just do this and I'll explain what I'm doing. Okay, I've typed in within quotation marks, current space star space accountant, close quotation marks. Now you may think that surrounding something in quotation marks would be an exact phrase. So you may think that Google's going to return pages with exactly the phrase current space star space accountant. But you'd be wrong. It doesn't do that. Google interprets a star in a different way. Google looks at a star in this context as being either 1 to 5 words. So current something accountant. Any one between 1 and 5 words. So whenever I have a look at this search, what am I going to get? Firstly, it's a different result set to Bing. Bing gave me Matthew somebody. The first one on the list here is Joy Cable. Let's have a look at Joy's result profile and see what it says. So again, we've got the word current, and we've got, what do you know, between 1 and 5 words. In this case, the word senior, and then the word accountant. So Google allows me to do a search. It's like a proxy search, and it finds 2 words that are near each other within 1 to 5 words. So this is a really useful way of using Google to do proximity searches. Use a star, put it within a phrase surrounded by quotation marks, and it will represent between 1 and 5 words. But you don't have to use just 1 star. Oh no. Why not use 2 stars? See what that does. Let's run it and see. Okay, this is where Google sort of, falls over or tries to help out. I'm not too sure which is to. Google sometimes thinks I'm a bit of an idiot. Sometimes I would agree, sometimes I don't. But what Google is trying to do here is it's trying to be helpful. And it hasn't worked. And I'll tell you why it hasn't worked. Look at this. It's found a profile, number 1 profile, current senior accountant. But I've already said that a star represents between 1 and 5 words, not 0 words. So if I use 2 stars, that should be between 2 and 10 words. But it hasn't done that. It's given me 1 word. So it's got it wrong. And the reason it's got it wrong is because Google tries to be helpful. It tries to think what I want and give me what it thinks I want rather than what I've actually asked for. So if I want to pull Google into line and get it to do exactly what I want it to do, then there's a tool for that. If I look over here on the left-hand side, it says Show Search Tools. If I scroll down towards the bottom of the list, it says verbatim or verbatim. Still don't know how to say that word. One or the other. And what this does is it tells Google, don't try and interpret it, just give me what I'm asking for. And lo and behold, I have now Daniel at the top of my list. Let's help him. 2 stars, 5 words. What have we got? We've got the word current. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the word accountant. So 2 stars are elongating this gap, this tolerance between my 2 keywords that I'm looking for. So this is really interesting. This is a way, a mechanism whereby I can extend my search and find other things. Okay, so let's keep on talking about this notion of using Xray search to search LinkedIn. It's quite a radical proposal, really, because most people, I suppose, when you think of searching LinkedIn, you just go to LinkedIn and search. And that probably works perfectly well for lots of people. But Xray search allows you to do some things that searching LinkedIn can't do. Here are some of the benefits. 1, Google and Bing give me 1,000 results, whereas on a free profile with LinkedIn, it limits me to 100 results. So I'm getting more results for Google and Bing. Secondly, LinkedIn, when it gives me results, it prioritizes people that are in my network. In fact, it actually tries to prevent me seeing anybody who's outside my network by not giving me their full names on a free account. Whereas LinkedIn and Bing, they don't know who's in my network, so they don't care. They just give me the results that they find appropriate to the search. 3. Google and Bing index the full page. LinkedIn sort of does and sort of doesn't, but its search tools are quite specific. So I can actually find stuff using Xray search that I would never be able to find using LinkedIn search. Let me explain. I run a group on LinkedIn. It's a closed group. So if you're not a member of the group, strictly speaking, you shouldn't be able to find the membership of that group. But if you do an Xray search, you probably can. One of the groups I run is called South African Recruiters. So this is still my Xray search, and I'm still negating directory listings. Anyway, what do you know? Okay, the first one for some strange reason is an advertisement. I've got no idea why an advertisement's coming up here, but lo and behold it is. But after that, I've got Stuart. I know Stuart, works for Antel. He's in the group. Melinda Queck is also in the group. Charmaine and so on. Lloyd's in the group. What it's effectively doing is giving me a list of people who have South African Recruiters Group mentioned on their profile. The reason they've got it mentioned on their profile is because they're in the group. But I would have no way, if I wasn't in the group, searching through LinkedIn to find those people. But I can do it this way. So I can access information in closed groups. I can also access other information that LinkedIn doesn't really allow me to search. Language skills, other information that's hidden on people's profiles, contact details, for example. Public profiles can tend to give you more information about people than even if you found their profile on LinkedIn. So it's an interesting way of getting hold of things. All that said, however, this is only one way to search LinkedIn. Don't get me wrong. I still like searching LinkedIn through LinkedIn. So let's go in and have a look at LinkedIn and see what we can get there. Just as an aside, I mentioned this earlier on, if you enjoy this video or if you're watching the webinar and you want to connect with me, please do. Just mention you're looking at the webinar, the video, or any of my videos. Just send me a connection request. I'd be delighted to connect with you. I connect to recruiters, so if you say you're watching the webinar, then I figure you're a recruiter. Okay, I'm going to do a search here. I'm going to search for accountants in Birmingham. I'm going to type in accountant Birmingham. Run my search and see what I find. This is the easiest way to search, and we've got a whole list of results. 4,827 results. LinkedIn is quite good. It does actually give you a reasonably accurate indication of how many profiles it finds, unlike Bing or Google, which take a staggeringly inaccurate guess. There we go. However, this doesn't appear to be that useful because I have a massive LinkedIn connection base. Well, massive in the sense of several thousand people, but most of them are recruiters. And lo and behold, my search results reflect that I've got a massive number of recruiters, people working in recruitment, that are coming up in my searches. I didn't mention recruitment in my search. I said accountant in Birmingham, but yet it has skewed my results set to my network. Not exactly ideal. So how am I going to improve this search? Well, Google does have a whole range of operators, but personally I don't find them that useful. I used to think they were quite good when you could do things with them you couldn't do through advanced search. I don't believe there's that many things left that you can do with operators you can't do through advanced search. So all in all, I find advanced search more useful. It's up on the right hand corner of LinkedIn. Okay, the reason this is more useful is that I can be quite specific about the fields within the LinkedIn database that I want to search. So if I want to find accountants, I can say I want a job title with the word accountant in it. In fact, I can use the OR operator and I can put in any length of string in here. I can surround phrases with quotation marks, and I can do some of the stuff that I could do within a Google search in terms of ands and ors and nots and whatever else. I can also say that Birmingham in the UK has a geographical postcode system, which means I can put in a Birmingham postcode, B11AA, and I can say within 25 miles. And when I run this search, it's going to be much more accurate than my random keyword search. Look what I'm getting. I'm getting commercial accountant, finance director, blah, 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 and all of them are in, well, Coventry, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, and so on. We're getting people that are within the sphere I'm interested in and within the geography I'm interested in. Wonderful. Okay, step back a bit. Let's think about what else we can do here. Because geography can be defined in all sorts of different ways. I feel as though I'm missing people. Here's an example in London. If I wanted to find people in London, what sort of terms would I use? I could say London, but I could also define a district in London, such as Southwark, a nearby area, the South Bank. I could look at postcodes. In this case, I've surrounded SE1 by parentheses, so I can put a space after the 1 so I don't get SE11, although, to be honest, that would still be in London. Telephone codes, landline area codes are really, really good in terms of defining geography, but bear in mind that you can have bracketing in there, you can have international codes in there, you can have dashes or dots or other symbols, some of which may be accepted, some of which may not be accepted within search engines. One of my favorite ways of finding people is that find a big employer in the area and search for it, because people are more likely, particularly on LinkedIn, to mention employers than they are to mention geography. And the other thing you can do is negate things that are not going to be useful to you. So there's a Southwark in Philadelphia, so I could negate Philadelphia. If I'm searching for Birmingham, I may want to avoid Birmingham in Alabama in the US, so I could negate that if I'm looking for the UK Birmingham. So there's all sorts of interesting things you can think about doing there. So I'm going to improve my search in Birmingham, or well, change my search in Birmingham, debatable whether it improves or not. And I'm going to look for a whole string of other possibilities that people may have for Birmingham. Drop it into keywords, move my postcode, run that search, and I may get something better, I may get something worse, but I'll definitely get something different. And if I get something different, it may yield results I don't yet have. Okay, let me show you one other thing. I mean, I'm going to the tempo a little because I just find this to be absolutely essential for a way of operating within the recruitment industry. Executive recruiters and executive search has this wonderful habit of starting each search by looking for places to find candidates, and I think that's a brilliant approach. And I really wish more recruiters could operate that way in the contingency market and staffing market. And I'll tell you why. One, it works in terms of finding people, but mainly because I think it is a massively quick and impressive thing that you can do to impress your clients as to, one, how you're different, two, how you're better, three, really get more information from your clients if you share that type of search result or search process with your clients, because you can share it early on. I'm going to show you something really quick, and I'm going to do this through intelligence. Normally I don't show our own products. Well, sometimes I do. I show it when it's relevant. Intelligence has a browser built into it. This is my product. I wrote this code. I'm going to do a search. This is an advanced search. I was interested in finding salespeople for my own company. So I'm looking for sales in the job title, United Kingdom, and keywords recruitment software. I can expand this and do more, but I'll show you what I get. I'm going to get a search result of people, 125 people, super duper, and I'm going to have a look around and I'm going to see who are the companies they work for. Some of these companies are competitors. Bullhorn's a competitor of ours, First Choice Software is a competitor, iTech, Microsoft, Dillastone, Microdeck PLC. These are all competitor companies to the software we produce. And I've got a whole lot of people. But look what happens. If I open up, I've got a built-in LinkedIn scraper here. I'll just show you what happens. Delete my links. I can search any web page and find link profiles. And from that, I also get the name of the person. I can select this, cut and paste it, and drop it into Excel. And what I'm aiming at is producing something like this. What this is, it's an Excel spreadsheet. I've got all my competitors, I've got all their salespeople, and I've got their job titles. Now, imagine if I'm an executive search company or a recruitment agency, put your logo on it, put your telephone number on it. Within half an hour of getting a job spec in, send it off to your client saying, this is my first search. Give him a few hundred names, or her a few hundred names. Because what it does is, one, it impresses them that you're a professional recruiter. It creates a conversation with them, and they turn around and say, well, we know some of those people we don't know, we know some of those firms, some of them we don't know, we know other firms that you could look at that aren't on your list. You'll get so much more intelligent conversation with your client. How bad are clients very often at defining what it is they want and the type of people they look for? Creating this sort of list, it's so quick, it's so easy to do. I can't understand why more recruiters don't do it. And when I say this, the reason I'm saying this is because we ran a recruitment campaign recently for a salesperson, and I put it out to my network of recruiters thinking it was going to be inundated. And one recruitment company came back to me saying they wanted to recruit for me. They listened to the spec I was looking for, and they immediately sent me a sheet like this. And it was the most impressive thing I've seen in a very long time. So I'd absolutely encourage other recruiters to adopt the same practice of just being more professional, search the information, share it with your customers, explain what's going on. It creates channels of communication and creates quality. If you use intelligence, and I know we've got some intelligence customers online here, this was one of the fundamentals of intelligence. Intelligence was developed before LinkedIn was. But one of the things we did early on, sorry for anybody who doesn't know intelligence, this is a client screen of intelligence. So if I'm a recruiter, the intelligence software could be one of my clients. And as soon as I create the record, intelligence automatically creates a list of names of people. These are all my candidates who work for intelligence software. These are all their job titles. The people in blue are all their referees and all their job titles. So I give you the name of my line managers. I give you the people that are passive job seekers, who earn more money than me, who are more important than I am. And you've got all this information. And if your information management system, whether it be Excel spreadsheets or whiteboards or by intelligence, can pull all that information together, you can better manage your information. We also pull in any names of people who mention intelligence software on their CV or resume. We also pull in anybody that's in my LinkedIn network who works for intelligence software. You can very quickly, with sensible tools, cut and paste all this stuff, drop it into an Excel spreadsheet. See if I can do this for you here now. I don't know if I can do this. Drop it into an Excel spreadsheet, paste it in, format it, boom, it's done. So you've got names of people with their job titles ready to go into these sort of sheets. It's massively powerful, and I really encourage more of you to operate in that way. Okay, time once again. That's it for today's webinar. Thank you very much for your time on this. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please do. I'm going to post a recording of this website up, of this webinar on my blog. So it's intel-sw.com/blog. There's a wealth of other stuff up there, all about sourcing techniques, working smarter, doing different things, and just my general ramblings about the recruitment industry. So it's a great resource for you if you're interested in it. Thank you very much for your time. Please connect to me on LinkedIn. Please share this. If you think it's useful to you, please talk about it and tell other people. I regularly run webinars, and we'll have another one in another few weeks' time, maybe next month. And I really look forward to hearing from everybody. Give me some feedback. If you're interested in our products as well, check out intel-sw.com. Give me a call, send me an email, and we'll be very happy to show you our products in a lot more detail. Thank you.